Hi, and welcome to the Self-publishing Roundtable. I'm your host, Adam, joined by my co-hosts tonight, Trish McAllen and Lindsay Baroker, as well as our special guests, Denise Grover-Swank and Mimi Strong. And tonight, we'll be talking with both of them about the importance of mailing lists for self-published authors. But we're going to talk about how to gain signups, which service both of them are using for their mailing list, and just what to do with your list after you've built it. And Mimi, you went a whole week without being on the show. I know we were just talking about that. Everyone probably knows you by now already, but let's just pretend that they don't. And will you give the listeners a quick reminder of who you are?
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm Mimi Strong, and I was in Seattle last weekend, so that's why I couldn't be on the show. Also, they didn't ask.
Right, and Denise, you've been on the show as well. It's been a while, though. Would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hi, I'm Denise Grover-Swank, and I'm the author, I think, of 18 published books now, multiple series, and I'm here to talk about my newsletter list, or so I've been told.
All right, so Trish, do you want to take it from here?
Uh-oh, Trish is muted.
But it's a really good introduction if you could hear it.
That's what happens when you try to mute. Then I forget to take it off when I'm supposed to be talking. Anyway, so let me give you a little more expanded introduction to Denise and Mimi. Now, Mimi and Denise are kind of unusual with indie authors in that they're both kind of cross-genre authors. They don't necessarily always stick to the same genre. Denise is writing urban fantasy, contemporary young adult, as well as contemporary new adult, and then she has a Southern mystery series that I know is doing very well. And Mimi is writing kind of a hodgepodge of everything. She's written romance, kind of like a paranormal science fiction, and just kind of a little bit of everything. So I wanted to welcome both of you to the show.
Hi, thanks, Trish. I would just say that there's something that's different between me and Denise is that Denise does everything under her one name, whereas I publish different genres under different pen names. So that's we're the same but different. So that's fun.
That's actually an interesting comment too when it comes to newsletters. Now, do you have newsletters, a different newsletter subscribers list for each of your pen names, or?
Oh, me? Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, I run, well, my first newsletter list, when I shut that pen name down, I had 33 subscribers. So so that was cute. I was learning. That's how you start, though. So I have that one of 33 people still, in theory, if I wanted to. And then I have a big one. And what I do is a lot of my names are not secret from each other. So I will promote one name to the other mailing list. But my Mimi Strong mailing list is the big one because that's where I've focused most of my work for the last couple of years, and that's mostly a romance and erotic romance mailing list.
And then how many subscribers do you have on your list now, Mimi?
I checked today, I'm just under 15,000 subscribers, and that's all running on a MailChimp account. And I think my monthly cost it's around $75 or so. Yeah, it's a small fortune, but I use affiliate code. I'm getting ahead of your questions, aren't I? That's okay. I'll just get it out there, and then we can just talk about the weather for the rest of the show. So I use my affiliate code, so I have an affiliate account with Amazon, and I throw that into all of my mail outs, and then even if people pick up other things after they get my newsletter, it generates enough revenue that it easily covers the cost of the mailing list. So I really don't sweat that $75 a month because it's for one, it's a good investment in my career, and for another thing, it actually pays for itself.
Okay, and then you are using MailChimp, correct? So what is there anything that you particularly like or particularly do not like about MailChimp? And is there any newsletter host that you wish that you had gone with prior to, getting your 15,000 subscribers?
MailChimp is easy enough to use and to set up. I have a background in website design, so I can code HTML. So the fact that it has built-in templates is not really a big selling factor for me, but I think it is for a lot of people, having that WYSIWYG editing capability. I'm happy with it. Over the last year, I mean, I'm not really deeply into the internet marketing world, and I know there's so much to know about mailing lists and mailing techniques. I found that over the last year, my rate of getting into people's inboxes is really dropping. We all saw earlier this year, if you have a Gmail account, we saw how they brought in those tabs, and they started splitting things into the 3 categories, with and all newsletters went into a social folder. Now, as a Gmail user, I was very happy to see that new technology come in, but as a person who likes to email people when my new book comes out, I was super bummed when I saw that, and I said, oh no, this is not going to be good for my open rates. And yes, very true, it was not good for open rates. So I've seen decreasing open rates over the last year. And I wouldn't blame that on MailChimp. I would just, it's just the way the world is going. People are filtering their information and they're getting overwhelmed, and it's just the way of things, isn't it? It seems like every day it gets harder to get through to people.
Yeah, that's very true. So, Denise, now, how many people do you have on your mailing list, and who are you using for your service provider?
I have just a little under 12,800 subscribers, and I'm using MailChimp as well, but Mimi must have got a great rate, because I'm paying about $140 a month for mine. So.
Oh, mine might be up there. It's possible that I have just not been looking at it.
It's on its own. You get a little email. Oh, you've got more subscribers. Right.
Yeah, I don't think I got any kind of like special treatment from them. So my rate is probably the posted rate.
I cannot use Amazon affiliate codes though. I live in Missouri, and so I just signed up for Amazon affiliate account, and like literally within 2 weeks or so, I got an email saying that they were shutting down all Missouri Amazon affiliate accounts. So I never got to take advantage of that. So.
Oh, that's a real shame. This is not legal advice. But it's possible that you could get a family member take over your mailing list and your an affiliate account or something like that. I mean, if your books are selling well, I think you could probably write off that $150 a month or whatever. But like if you wanted to, I'm sure there are ways around it.
Denise, what do you like and dislike about MailChimp? Do you wish that you'd gone with a different host, prior to actually starting up your newsletter?
Yeah, when I started up my newsletter, I didn't know what I was doing. So I actually went with a company called, I think it was called BraveNet, and I couldn't make heads or tails of it. So somebody said they used MailChimp. And at that time, I think I had 19 subscribers. So it was really no big deal for me to change. So what I did is I signed up for a MailChimp, and then I invited those people to join. And then I'm sorry, my phone is, okay, we'll turn that off. And so then I invited those people to join, and then I built my newsletters list from there. I have found that I have a hard time reaching people sometimes. They'll tell me that they didn't get their emails. That was before I realized that it was mostly, well, it was some with Yahoo, but it was mostly a Gmail problem. And I'm really facing that now because of what I'm doing to promote my newsletter and get people to subscribe. I'm letting them read a novella in parts for free, and so I've said it. One thing I do like about MailChimp is I can send out an automated email so that they can, because they don't like to wait. Nobody likes to wait. So send out the email. They sign up for the email. They get their confirmation email, and then within an hour, an email is sent out with the links and passwords to read the novella on my site for free. And so when I'm getting a lot of people signing up, I'm fielding a lot of emails from readers saying, I didn't get it, and like 9 times out of 10, they are Gmail subscribers. So I'm like saying, okay, well, it's either in your spam box or it's under your promotions tab. And so I'm fielding a lot of emails from that, which is a pain in the butt.
Do you have an idea how many of those people are, like the autoresponder, which comes with a paid account for MailChimp?
Yes.
the autoresponder sends within 60 minutes of them signing up.
Yes.
Denise, I'm wondering.
It's sent out on the hour. It sends out on the hour.
Sorry, what's that?
It sends out on the hour. Because I used
okay.
to get an email saying that it's sent out, 5, 10.
Okay. What I found was the autoresponder was not fast enough, and I was fielding a ton of questions from people who said that they didn't get the email, but it was just because they were so excited that they didn't read the part that said that it can take up to 60 minutes. So what I've actually done is I've hacked the confirmations message. I mean, I'm saying hacked. I didn't really hack it, but the confirmation screen actually now goes to my page and the information and the download information that I used to have in the autoresponder, because I got it was just too much work for me to handle emailing people who were in this world where people are used to getting that email instantly, and the idea of having to wait up to an hour for it to come through is just it's not how things are done in other industries. Like MailChimp really needs to clean that up. But if you'd like, you can have a look at how my mailing list works anytime, or I can walk you through it. But it's just that I've hacked the confirmation screen to go to the information that would be on the autoresponder, because the autoresponder is not fast enough.
Right.
That's a little hacker trick for everyone. It's
I've
like
got-
Super Deluxe.
So yeah, I'm like sitting here going, yeah, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, there's a field where MailChimp sends them to a confirmation screen, and there's a little space in there where you can put in your own URL, your own web page. You can direct them to your own confirmation page. And so I just direct people to my confirmation page on my site, which has the has the downloads on it, rather than sending it in an email, because you can't really embed it in the email anyways. So there's no advantage of using that autoresponder except for getting to personally chat with 5 people a day who don't read instructions, who I love.
I got some interesting information about Gmail that's going to turn things on its head again. Have you guys heard about the Gmail app that is coming out, or is actually, I think it's already been released, that is going to truncate all of the newsletters for whatever period that is that it sends it, and they'll all be on the same line. So it will say like Denise Swank and Mimi Strong and Lowe's Home Improvement and Arby's. They'll all be on one line and just 2 or 3 words per person's newsletter, instead of everyone having their own line.
Man, like whenever things get like more difficult for us, I'm never surprised. like you said, oh, Gmail's bringing out a change, and I was like, oh yeah, it's making it worse.
Yeah, it's going to make it a lot worse. Now, the good news on this is that it's a downloadable app. People will actually have to download it if they want it, and hopefully people will not want it, and hopefully Gmail won't decide they're going to just automatically roll it out and make everybody take it if if enough people don't download it. But yeah, I think it was released like 2 weeks ago. I haven't seen it affecting anything, but who knows.
I wish that Yahoo would change around their email, because they have their spam button is like really so much easier for people to click on, rather than scrolling down and clicking on the unsubscribe. And so like every single email that goes out, once you have a certain number of subscribers, every single one gets someone like reporting it spam, and it's always a Yahoo account. I've thought about having like separate lists, and just like, because you can filter in MailChimp, thought about having a list where it's just Yahoo users. So that all my spam reports
just on that one list.
My list is a double opt-in. People have opted into it. I'm not spamming them. I mean, they might not want it, but that doesn't mean it's spam.
Well, let's talk about opting in now. You guys both have like massive email lists. How did you guys build these lists? Denise, I know you've done some really interesting things to build your list. Could you kind of give us a rundown of this?
Yeah, I realized that I needed, I couldn't count on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or whoever to let people know about my new releases. So to do that, I had at the end of my books subscribe for my newsletter, but people weren't really doing it. So I realized that they needed to be bribed. They needed incentive to sign up.
Amen.
So, yeah, right? I mean, I do. Everybody does. Human nature, right? So, and it's a pretty good trade. Like, so the first time I did it was with my Chosen series. It was between the third and fourth final book. I wrote short stories, and so the newsletter, if they sign up for the newsletter, they get the password and the code but I send it out once a month, at the beginning of the month, for the short story that month, or they could buy it. So I only had about 1,000 people sign up for that, but I had a lot of sales of the short stories on Amazon because it was an Amazon exclusive at that time. It was Amazon Select. And so then last year I released the third book of my Rose Gardner series, and it just wasn't selling that well. Oh, is that your cat? So I was like, okay, well, I needed to let people know about the next release. What's the best way to do that? Build my newsletter list. And so I wrote a novella and broke it up into 3 parts and put at the very back of the third book, if they signed up for my newsletter, they could read the novella for free. And I got about 5,000 people sign up from the end of September to January 1st. So I found that very effective. So I tried that again this year. In June, I wrote another novella, posted it in 3 parts, and I've got about 6,000 people signed up since June. So.
Oh, that's great. And spoiler alert, that's exactly how I built my list too. I had some short stories. I love writing short stories. They don't really sell. I mean, they sell, but like you're not going to get anywhere writing a bunch of short stories. But what's fantastic is they're great for giveaways for your email list. So I've actually got now, I think, six short stories. It's definitely an offer that's just too good to refuse. And I have my call to action at the back of all of my ebooks and all my websites. It's a pretty strong call to action, telling them that if they sign up for my newsletter, they're going to get like a super exciting gift from me. And I think 6 really awesome short stories is a good gift. I don't think I'm overselling it or overpromising it. But I learned that tactic from, I think it's a book called like Your First 1,000 Copies. It's a book about mailing lists, and it really drives home that point that it takes effort for people to sign up for your newsletter, and then you're being invited into their inbox, into their private space, and it's going to be like something for them to have to deal with and maybe unsubscribe from later. So you need to offer them something that makes it worth their while. So I just took that and ran with it, and it worked absolutely fantastically. And a great tip that you can do is sometimes we collect people liking us on our Facebook page, but they're not necessarily on our mailing list. So what I'll do now, every now and then on my Facebook page, I'll just post, oh, hey, are you on my newsletter? I've got XYZ coming up, and I'd love to let you know. Plus, there are these short stories. So, and every time I go and I post it on my Facebook page, I get like another 100 subscribes. But you don't want to, abuse them and abuse that too much. But I've seen some other authors do that really well. Like they say, they'll post like something really teasy, like, oh my God, I have such exciting news, and I can't tell you, and I can't wait to tell you, and I'll tell my mailing list in 24 hours. I haven't quite embraced that tactic yet, but I've seen other people do it, and it seems to work really well.
Yeah, I've actually found that the free novella works really well for building your newsletter list as well. That's pretty much what I've been building mine on, is the fact that they'll be getting the free forged in whatever. The Red Hot Seals is my series, and they'll be getting free novellas for that series for who's ever in my newsletter list. So I get a lot of newsletter subscribers because of that alone, I think. Lindsay, what about you? What do you do? Who is your newsletter provider, and what are you doing to try to build your newsletter list?
Hey guys, oh, my little list is now feeling rather small and puny next to these other ladies, but I've got about 4,000 people, and I use Aweber, and it's mostly because I did internet marketing stuff before this. I used to be a professional blogger for the day job, So, because as an author, you can look at Aweber. It's not a free one. It's not like free to the first 2,000 subscribers. I think it's about $20. They go by the quarter. It's not $20 a month, but you'd have to check for the current rates. I'm kind of grandfathered in, and yeah, I have a really good deal. I can have multiple lists, and it's about $50 a quarter and unlimited subscribers. And they keep trying to get me to upgrade, but until they actually make me, I'm like, no, this is great. But I can pretty much do everything I want with it as an author. And they also have, you can do a big autoresponder series too. There, I think up to like 7 or more that you can plan out in advance. And I've not bothered doing that. What was the question? Who do I use?
Oh, how are you growing it? Do you have a freebie that you give away, or do you just tell them that it's full of enticing news about your stuff?
This is great. We got Mimi doing the host questions.
Well, Tricia's on mute. I can see her icon is on mute.
Oh yeah, she's probably talking, but no. I'm feeling really lazy because I've thought about all these things. Like I said, I did do internet marketing, so I should know better. But I've also kind of thought about, I don't really want people on my list who aren't active and really good fans and really excited to see the series, so I tend to call my list now and then, people who haven't clicked on links or opened. I guess if they've opened it, that's cool. But if they're not clicking on links and all that, or not at least taking a look, I tend to just keep it down. And I don't know, because I keep thinking sooner or later Aweber's going to decide they need to charge me, because it seems like most of them charge by how many subscribers you have. So, you know, I think it's a good idea, and I think with my pen name I am going to give away something for free. My pen name has 29 subscribers so far. So.
You know,
but you just started.
Speaking of that whole thing about purging your list, I attempted to do that once. I sectioned off a chunk of people that MailChimp reported are not opening or clicking on any of my email, and I sent, just to be sure, I sent them a little email saying like, oh, you know, thanks for everything, but I'm gonna unsubscribe you from this list, so you know, you don't have to do anything. And I got back a whole bunch of panicked responses of people who were like, some of them were like upset. They thought I was mad at them, or basically a lot of responses of people who didn't want to be removed from the list. And that was when I realized that the MailChimp reporting is just, it's not something you can rely on, and I would rather pay an extra, you know, whatever you're going to save a month by purging off some of those names. My list is not at that size where I need to purge people off. If I have to pay an extra 20 to 30 a month and not lose a handful of people who love my work and really want to be on there, then that's just the cost of doing business. So I have not purged my list because of that test. But Aweber might have better reporting than MailChimp.
Yeah, I've been told that MailChimp only records the first 48 hours after your newsletter is sent out. So if someone opens it like a week later or saves it for the weekend, it's not going to record that.
Yeah, and I think with some clients it just doesn't record it at all, because I had some people respond, and so then I got curious and I asked them questions, and that they've been opening all the emails. So that was when I just decided that you know, I should use my urge to be tidy. I should like clean my kitchen or something. Just do something else with that energy. Just like leave your darn email list alone. Like just like let it be. Just let it grow, let it get nice and big. And you know what? If they're not opening and they're not clicking on your stuff now, who knows? Maybe they'll be a great customer in 6 months when their life kind of settles down or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and I'll definitely keep it in mind. I know because I blog about self-publishing, though, I get a lot of just curious people that they actually expect that I'm going to send articles about self-publishing, even though my list specifically states this is for news about my books. So those are usually the dead weight that I'm getting rid of, is other authors spying on me.
Yeah, I probably got some of those too, but you know what? You can always turn them into fans, right? Just send them an excerpt, like, oh, surprise, here's chapter 1, and then they're like, what is this? I have to delete this, and then, oh, they can't help it. Their eyes are like drawn in by your magical worlds, and then they're just like, I must buy and read all these books. So that could totally happen.
Okay, Adam, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a couple on here. So Mimi, first though, you said that you got some responses back about the activity of those people who you were trying to cull off your list. Did any of those mention opening theirs as just text, not HTML? Because I've gotten some people, well, we use MailChimp as well, saying that it doesn't record percentage at all if they don't click, like, for instance, at the top of Gmail to like show images and links or anything like that. Did you get any responses back like that, or?
You know, a lot of people have no idea what they're doing. Like if you're a little bit technical, you kind of assume that everybody else is like up to like that level. But there are a lot of people who have digital devices and they have no idea where the emails are coming from. They buy books from somewhere, like, for example, maybe they buy books from Google Play, and they don't know what store they buy their books from. They just know that they have a phone and they click a button and they can buy books. And like they don't know that it's a Google Play store. So sometimes I will ask people to try to like get a little bit more information about what kind of technology they're using for my own research. But I don't really press the issue because you know, it's upsetting for people when it's revealed that they don't know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And so speaking with about open rates and things like that, and MailChimp specifically, I've also heard, again, you know, there's all these rumors going around, especially with MailChimp since it seems super popular. Denise or Mimi, do either of you use your domains email, like at mimistrong.com or something, for MailChimp for the for who to show by? Because I've heard if you use your own domain email instead of a generic one like Gmail or Yahoo, that it's less likely to go into spam or into the promotional or social folders.
I heard that around probably the same time it was going around the web earlier this summer, and I did make a switch to using, I had to register a new domain because my current one doesn't have email with it, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, you know, half a day of work, basically. Half a day of work setting up a domain, setting up email, going through their technical support. I found no difference in open rates. So that was half a day of my work down the drain to basically come out exactly where I was. So, I mean, if you have your own domain.com and you can do that, for sure, use it. It can't hurt. But I didn't notice any difference. I don't know. Did any of you? Over to you guys. I'll just be quiet now.
Switch too, and like I said, our list is kind of minuscule compared to your guys. We have like 600, and
Yeah.
we switched as well after hearing that and didn't see a change. So I didn't know if it was just because it's a, you know, we don't really have that many people to test it on, so it may not look the same. So Denise, do you use yours from your own domain or from Gmail or something like that?
No, I looked into it, and I honestly, it's a matter of time. There are only 24 hours in the day, and I actually have to sleep for about 4 or 5 of them, and so there just was a thing where I just never had time. But I use Gmail, and it depends on what I have in the header, but I usually have about a 35 to 60% open rate.
Okay, and so you didn't see any, well, you haven't tried the other one, but like Mimi said, she didn't notice any.
I'm curious, yeah, I was curious to hear that there was, maybe didn't really see a difference, so.
I didn't see a difference either. My open rates for the first few were really low, so I switched from Gmail to my website, and the open rates were the same, and then they slowly started climbing. So I don't think it really had anything to do with the Gmail. I think it had to do with people realizing I was actually sending them out after not sending them out for a year.
Yeah.
Imagine that stuff on the internet wasn't true. So,
Yeah.
So another question that we had, well, about open rates. Denise, you said your open rate hovers around 60%. Is that what you said, or?
Well, it goes anywhere from 35% to 60%. So, like the newsletters where I send out the link with that month's password and link to the novella and the password, I have a very high open rate, and I suspect that open rate is actually that's recorded is pretty low. That it's probably higher than that because the numbers I'm seeing, like my last one that I had, my newsletter subscriber list is 12,000, and I had like almost 13,000 hits on my website that day. So. I think it's a little lower, and I think it records people that come back, but still, I think it's higher than 60%.
Okay, and
my newsletter is all I write multiple genres, but I don't split my newsletter up into those genres. So I've noticed, like, if I put Curse Keepers in the title, I will get a lower open rate than if I put Rose Gardner in the title, which is my most popular series.
Okay, that makes sense. And so something you just said, you send out a password for the novella every month. Or is that a new one every month you're giving away, or is that just like a reminder?
Yeah, no, it's a new. So what I've done twice now is I wrote a novella and broke it up into 3 parts. So part 1 was released August 1st. Part 2 was released September 1st. And then part 3 was supposed to come out October 1st. For reasons I won't get into, I put out part 3 September 15th. So I split it up, and part of that is to keep them subscribed so that they'll still be subscribed when I send out the newsletter that says, hey, book 6 is available. So I'm enticing them to stay on my newsletter list.
Okay. And do you, so I don't want to get too off track of this before I ask maybe about open rates as well, but do you set up things like timed autoresponders for new people to get the old novellas that you sent out?
Yes. So, like, I currently have an autoresponder going out, and it sends them the link and passwords to all 3 parts. And so every month when I change it, I make a new autoresponder with the new link. And so I have to time it carefully so that they both coincide at the same time. Otherwise, I get emails from people going, oh, I didn't get the email with the link to, yeah. And some of them are very freaked out, which is a great thing for me that they're that excited to read it. But yeah, I fielded enough emails from newsletter subscribers, and I think that's the biggest hassle of doing this is the number of emails that I field every day. So.
Like tech support stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine because, like I said, we have like 600, and we probably get 5 to 10 emails a day. So, hitting over 10,000. And, people that, that the site doesn't work for me, or, oh, that doesn't work, the password doesn't work, the file doesn't work, I don't know how to sideload it. It's like, oh, God.
Yeah.
But anyway, kind of back on topic. So maybe are your open rates around the same? I know you said you have a lot of people on your list that are kind of just signed up for the free stuff. So.
Oh, yeah. I don't have anything going with my list where I'm giving away any sort of cash prizes. So the only incentive I have for signing up to my list is to either get my free romance short stories or to, stay in contact with me to find out about my books. Even so, my open rates are not very good. If I get 35% open rate, like, I'm pretty happy with that. My click rate is good. I'll get 8% of people clicking on something inside the newsletter. I like to think it's because I'm sending them like some good stuff. We're saying, oh gosh, I was going to comment on something that you said about the tech support. Every time I get an email from someone, I used to work in website design, so every time I do get an email from someone saying that they couldn't sideload or they couldn't download or they needed instructions, I'll actually go into the download page itself and I'll add just a little bit more of explanation. And I kind of see that as my personal challenge to make it so that I've anticipated all of the possible usability issues. And the other thing that I do is I don't make my download super secure. It's not password protected. It's literally just on a page that isn't linked from the main menu and navigation of my website. So if someone signed up for my newsletter and they copied the URL and they sent it to all their friends would get my free short story without having to sign up for my newsletter. And then I would be out, nothing really. I mean, maybe I would gain a new customer. So those are two things that I've done is, like, number one, if I'm giving away free content, like, I'm just not going to police it that much. I'm not going to be that worried about it. It's my free content. I'm giving it away. I'm not going to. I think some people do the password, and I'm not going to say that that's not the right way to do it. But I am all about saving a little bit of time for myself, so I don't do that. And so you have my permission. It's okay to give away your free stuff without a password if you want, and that works for you.
Right. So, so speaking of that, I don't want to go off too much of a tangent because I'm going to pass it over to Lindsay in a second. I have just a couple related questions, but also maybe it's been a couple months ago, I listened to another podcast that had Nick Stevenson on it, and he was saying that when he has the sign up for my mailing list link, because you get a free thing on the actual confirmation that pops up, you can still click no, never mind, I don't want to sign up for mailing list, but they still get to that unlisted page. So he tells them, and he said that's what he does to make sure people on the list aren't only there for the free? Do you think that's a good idea as far as like pre-culling the list for those people, or?
Well, I think it's a matter of cost. Like when you look at how much it costs for you to carry an extra 5,000 emails on your mailing list, you can figure out that cost on the scheduled rates, and those are people who are interested in your content enough to download it in the first place. You gotta figure that stuff has some value. For example, in preparation for the show, I just did a quick little look up on my mailing list performance for this past year, and I'll have I wouldn't say my mailing list is all super fans, not by a long shot. If I release a new book that's not part of a series, it's just a standalone book, I'll sell between 200 to 400 copies at regular price. So like 200 to 400 people out of 14,000 are what you would call like true fans. So it's not a huge percentage. But if I send out a 99-cent sale, I'll sell 800 copies of something, which is it's not BookBub numbers, but it's a significant number of people who are not super fans, but they will pick something up if it's 99 cents. And so my list has, everybody likes to be popular. I like to think that people ask me to be in their box sets because they think I'm fun to work with. But as an added bonus, if I send my box set advertisement out to my mailing list, I'll probably sell about 800 copies. So if you put me in your bundle, I'm going to sell 800 copies just from clicking one email. And those might be people who are not interested necessarily in my books or in my books at full price, but they're email accounts of people who love books in that genre, and they've signed up for my list, and that's how you run a business.
Right. Okay, so last question for me, and then I'll pass it over to Lindsay. Denise, I'll start this one on your side. So these are kind of related, so I'll lump them together. How often do you actually mail out? I know you said you mail out at least once a month for the novella part. So in general, is it just once a month? And do you try to keep it kind of personalized, or is it more of like a business tone? Do you use the thing where MailChimp puts their name in it, so it looks like you're typing individual emails to 10,000 people?
Yeah, I have it set up so that it puts their name into the, to whatever I have in there. I send out an email or a newsletter only when there's something to tell them that's important, because I don't want to keep sending them out stuff so that they get annoyed with me and unsubscribe. And so I usually will send out an email when there's a new release, or if I have a sale that I think they'll be interested in. So I've sent out 2 newsletters this month. I sent out one with the release of the Curse to Fires, which came out September 30th. So it was September 30th. And then I sent one out when I had a box set sale. Actually, I've sent out 3. I had a box set sale for Chosen, and then I had another sale for my box set of my Rose Gardner Mysteries. Now, I don't have as many people click and buy as Mimi does, because especially with my Rose Gardner Mysteries, because the reason they're there most likely is that they have read all the way to the back to the end of book 5, and they've subscribed to read the novella between the 2 books, because the novella is a Rose Gardner mystery novella, and it falls between the book that just came out and the book that's coming out soon, and so they want to read it for free. They don't have to. It's going to be for sale November 1st, so they can buy it if they want to, if they don't want to subscribe to the newsletter. And some people have said that they don't want to read them in parts. They want to save it up and they want to buy it. But like that first novella I wrote just kind of on a whim, because I had ended that 3rd book kind of on a... It was kind of devastating for me and for my readers, and we all kind of needed to work our way through it to be ready for the next book. So I called it self-indulgent. I was like, this novella is totally self-indulgent. I'm not going to charge people for it. I'm just going to let them read it for free. But then I thought, okay, well, it's done, so let's put it up for sale. I've sold about 40,000 copies of that novella. So that was a nice afterthought. So I figure if I can do this like regularly, like come November 1st, I won't have anything for December 1st. I don't have anything for that. I haven't come up with that because that's just one more thing I have to write. This is all new content, and I'm changing it every month. There's new content every month. So I'll probably come up with something and start posting it in January.
So maybe kind of the same question. Do you keep them personalized as well, and how often do you send out?
I can't remember. You know what? I'm all over the place. Yeah, you could say hi blank, and then it fills in their name. But if they didn't fill in their name when they signed up for the email, I think it will just say like hi blank, and then it looks even more like a form letter. So I usually don't do that. What was the second part? Was it about the templates?
It was how often do you send out?
Often. Well, it depends. Sometimes one a month, and then sometimes I get excited and I have a lot of stuff going on. I really hit it hard last month. I think I had 5 emails, and I was starting to feel pretty dirty toward the end, like pretty dirty. So I dialed it back this month because I have to live with myself.
Okay, I guess I'm taking over.
No comments on the dirtiness.
No, but
I mean, it's so funny. Like you want to cross promote with other authors, but it's sometimes I'll do these box sets with people, and I'll say like, okay, well, you know, it's good to send out like 2 emails, because if you put a separate affiliate code in email number 2 about the exact same product, you will be shocked how many people will buy off that second email. Your whole mind and how you think about, you know, consumer behavior and the behavior of your fans will completely change once you see the reality of the numbers. And you will start sending your fans who you love, you will send them 2 emails with the second one kind of nagging them a little bit. But I'll do like cross promo with people, and they say, oh, I can only, you know, I promised them I would only send them 1 email only when like my house is on fire and I have 5 new books out. And so I don't make any of those promises or claims on my sign-up form. That way, down the road, if I just decide to become like completely disgusting and dirty and send 5 emails a week, you know, I could do that if I wanted.
wow, we're reading my mind there, because that's what I was going to ask you. Is that what, you know, one from the internet marketing stuff? They always say you will be amazed. You feel like you're pestering people, and some people will see that. But you will be amazed at how many more you sell of something if you send another one like a week later.
Yeah, or send the 3rd one. Yeah. Well, what I try to do is I try to do it respectfully and thinking about, so the second email, I'm always thanking the people from the first email. Like, you know, thank you so much, and I'll do a little added value. Like, you know, they've taken the time to click the link, and I'll say like, here's a neat little bit of feedback about the series, or here's something that I found surprising, or here's people have asked me who this character is based on, and this is who it's based on, and oh yeah, just by the way, I know you already bought it, but in case you didn't, here's that link again. So I try to be personable and treat people with respect, while also kind of just spamming them just like a little bit like a dirty internet marketer, just a little bit.
No, I need to do that myself. I know these things, but I'm such an introvert, not want to bug people kind of personality. So I save up all my news for once a month when I've got a new release, and I'm like, oh, by the way, and I also have this bundle I'm in with some Mimi lady, and you should buy that. And no, but I would love to ask you guys about, I think we might have mentioned it, but like placement on your site. How important do you think that is to kind of capture people who might come in from the search engines as far as your sign-up form? Or do you just totally rely on the link in the back of your books?
I've experimented personally on my Mimi Strong site. I've experimented with renaming the tab from the newsletter page like free books, get free books here, putting a little graphic somewhere on the site that calls them to that action. People I know who have the evil pop-up, they swear by it. They say they get so many people. It's another one of those evil tactics. Honestly, I couldn't get my pop-up to work. That's the only reason that I don't have my pop-up working. But I've heard from, you know, people like I think Russell Blake has a pop-up, and we all asked him, hey Russell, why are you so dirty, and why do you have a dirty pop-up? And he said, honey, if you saw my conversion rate, you would get on the pop-up train. Sorry, Russell, gave away your secret there.
Yeah, I've definitely heard the same thing from the internet marketers. It's like people hate the pop-ups, and yet they sign up. Denise, do you do pop-ups or anything interesting with the placement on your site?
I hate pop-ups, so I will not put one on my site. Now, you know what? I kind of have a little bit different mentality. Like when I get the little email that someone unsubscribed from my newsletter, I'm like, hey, you don't want to be there. I don't want you there because I'm paying for you. So I only want people there who really want to hear what I have to say and hear my news. It's kind of my philosophy on it. I know everybody has their own, but that's why I don't have a pop-up. I don't want to, you know, I'm coursing them enough with free new content. I figure that's enough. So I do have it placed high, though. As I've heard, like the right upper corner is the best place to get their attention. So my sign-up thing is right there.
Awesome, and I hear from the grapevine, also known as Trish, that Mimi's doing something interesting with her list aside from just announcing new releases. So if either of you are doing anything besides that, we'd love to hear about it.
Okay, now I need to. What is it exactly that you mean, Trish?
I was talking about kind of using your email list as a book bub, as an experiment where you were basically pimping other authors' books and the interesting things you kind of found from doing that.
Yeah, you know, I have a lot of authors in the self-publishing community, and every now and then, like I don't open up my mailing list to absolutely everyone because I don't want to spam my readers, and I want to just bring people messages about a product that, you know, I really would recommend. On occasion, I have done sort of like a spotlight email just to help out a friend, and I've sent an email promoting, you know, that someone else has just released the 3rd book in their series, and they have book 1 and book 2 on sale for 99 cents. And I have found that the purchase rates on those people's books are as high as they would be on my own book that I wrote myself. So my mailing list has as much value to any other person as it does to me. I won't sell it or anything, but I think that's probably against MailChimp's like terms of service or whatever, and also you know, not going down that road. But I like to do cross promotion with other people who also have, like, you know, a good sized list or decent fans. It's hard though. It's hard to structure these things because your friends who are the most in need of help, who genuinely will be desperate and will ask for help, are usually people who have, you know, like 100 people on their mailing list. So so it's really hard for them to say, hey, why don't you feature me and then I'll feature you. It's hard for them to say that with a straight face because they know that's not like a very fair bargain. But what me and some friends did earlier this year was we formed a cooperative of romantic comedy authors. And so I just said, you know, it's a blanket invitation. It's a group email. I don't care if you only have 30 people on your subscriber list. You know, let's work together, and we'll all grow together. Hopefully, all of them will have their list get bigger down the road, and we'll all benefit from that. So that is probably the most experimental thing that I'm doing. And so once a month, we send out a group email to everyone's list with all the new releases from the authors within that list for that month. Not huge response rates, but, you know, one of my emails will sell, you know, like 40 copies of someone's new release, which for a new author starting out is fantastic. But it's you know, it's tricky to get these things organized because you need to have some love there. You need to like love the people that you're working with, and really genuinely want to be behind each other's success and to help each other. Because if there's any of this kind of you know, like using kind of going on, you know, that's not going to get anyone anywhere, and it's just going to have like hard feelings. So I try to, when I enter these enterprises, I try to be like very honest and upfront about what my expectations are about the returning of the favor and about how much time I'm willing to put in. But so far I've had, you know, great results and also developed really good friendships with some of these other authors.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. I know, like, going back to the internet marketing world, you know, they call them joint ventures when like 8 entrepreneurs will each send out your new product to their list, and that's how these guys have these $1 million launches for their $297 whatever, how to make money online course. But it's hard as an author because you want somebody whose books you've read and that you want to make sure it's a good recommendation. But I've had the same experience when my beta readers and I, you know, I've read their stuff, so I have no problem recommending it to my readers. And especially if it's 99 cents, people will jump all over that if it's the same genre.
Oh yeah, and sometimes if I'm recommending a book that I haven't necessarily read myself, like it doesn't matter, it's up to them. Like they're adults, they see the page, and I don't say like, wow, this is the greatest book, you absolutely must buy it. I will just say something like, here is a book, perhaps you might like it. And then it's not like I'm giving like the full-on personal recommendation. Oh, I wish I could. I wish I had the time to read all these books. I'd love to be kind of like a tastemaker or whatever, where I would read all these books and then recommend them personally. But we don't have the time, and we can't beat ourselves up for not being able to do that. So just keep on going.
Right, and for others that do have the time, then still really read a lot. That's something they can do to maybe bring in a little extra money. Is use those affiliate codes and pimp those books that they enjoyed. You built the list, you might as well use it, right? But next question for you guys. Do you do anything fancy with your templates, or do you just do like the plain text? I'm not sure what MailChimp offers there as far as sending out the look of the newsletters.
I just use a template because I don't know really how to HTML code, but I try to keep it the same look every month so that they kind of know what it kind of has the same look every month. So it's I'm not throwing something new at them all the time, and I've kind of found what works for me, and I know how to put everything in there. And I'm really very particular about white space and negative space, and making I have 2 columns and making sure they all line up at the bottom and stuff. So I've had other people do it before. And I usually end up always going through and editing it, and by the time I'm done, I might as well have done this by myself. So I still do my own newsletter. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird when people go and they'll like center stuff, even though it's left aligned with an image on the right or something. It's just like, it's so weird, and they'll put in like crazy font colors and stuff.
Yeah.
It's your taste that is represented in your email. It should reflect sort of the style of your books and of your writing, but I have heard that like super bright colors and big text and like everything that we would think of as being like tacky, I hear it works. I hear it converts really well. Like, well, Lindsay, you're our internet marketing representative here. What do you say?
Well, they always say that with those long, annoying sales letters with 87 testimonials in them. Everybody's like, who uses these? Why do they use these? They're horrible. Nobody can fall for these. But like the studies keep showing, everybody's like, yeah, those sell the most of my product. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who does contract writing for some of those IM mails, and I think I made some sort of suggestion about like him writing my emails for me, and then he said something about like his rates. And then I just like stopped talking about it. Not worth it. It's not worth it to hire someone who's a pro to sell a $2.99 ebook. You will never get your money back hiring someone who's a skilled copywriter. Like some of these guys get paid like thousands of dollars to write one of those tacky emails. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think when you're an author, people really want to hear from you too, and just like it to be personable.
Yeah, it's funny. Every now and then I'll start off an email like using I, and a lot of people will just hit reply, and from the tone of their response, I get the feeling that they thought that I only sent it to them. I was like, I was like, well, that's too personal. And it's not that I don't like talking to them or giving them that feeling. It's just that I wouldn't want to misrepresent it. It's like when in the olden days with the answering machine, and you would start talking because you thought it was a person, because the people would be like, hello. You start talking like a dummy. Anyways, it's like that. You would feel bad tricking people.
Okay, so we have some questions on what you guys do to try to increase your open rates. I guess on MailChimp they suggest your subjects, or do you subjects that might work well or something like that? What do you guys do to try to get people to open them?
Usually, like if it's the novella, I don't have to put anything, but part 2, here it is, and they open them. I try to make it more active and more exciting, other than just a statement now. So, yeah, I haven't looked.
Uh-oh.
I think Denise froze.
So, Mimi, what do you... Oh, no, she left. Where our hosts or guests are going down like... Oh, wait, she's back with cough drops.
Yeah, I froze. Am I back?
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
you're back, Denise.
All right.
I'm muted because I had a coughing fit. I had a cold. I went to last weekend. I went to Seattle to the what's it called? Emerald City Writing something or other. The RWA meeting in Seattle. I'm Canadian, so I actually went and I got a passport just for this, and I went down and I met a whole bunch of people who are indie authors that I talk to on the internet all the time, but I hadn't met in person. And it was just such a wonderful experience because they were all like so nice and so funny, and I love them even though one of them gave me a terrible flu. But indie authors are so great and so awesome and so supportive of each other. It's just a fantastic community to be a part of, and Trish and Adam, thanks for having me on your show, and so nice to meet Denise and Lindsay and everyone. And I'm high on.
Are you trying to dodge the last question there?
Yeah.
You didn't hear it because you were getting Kleenexes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to butter you all up because I want your mailing list.
But no, we're just wondering if we've got one last question. How do you do anything specifically to try to increase your open rates by playing around with the subject headers or anything like that?
No, I don't bother. You know, it's like your 5 minutes of time fiddling around with that are probably better spent 5 minutes of writing words in a series, not standalone books, not short stories, not quirky things, not experimental things. Just like pick a thing, pick a main character, stick with the main character, stick with the series. Just, you know, don't even worry about mailing lists that much. If you stick to one series and one set of characters and you just do what readers want you to do, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff so much and like try to get an extra 1% open rate or whatever. You know, it's not gonna really do anything for you. You should focus your time on smart stuff. How's that?
So wise.
That's a crazy response.
Yeah, and Denise, you kind of got cut off there. You said, do you just kind of put novella 2 in there, and that gets the opens?
Yeah, my readers, if they're waiting for the novella, that's all I have to put in there, and they're going to open that thing. Now, if it's between free content, then I have to entice them more. I just try to make it a little more exciting. You know, free, whatever, because that always gets people to open things. But I think that newsletters are more important than ever because Amazon isn't always going to let your readers know that your new book's out. I get that all the time. They didn't know, not necessarily my Rose series, but my other series, they didn't know such and such book was out. So I can't count on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or iTunes or iBooks to let them know. My newsletter will let them know. And so especially with KU and all the nonsense that's going on with that and the rankings going down, you know, it's even more important than ever to reach our customers, reach our people that are buying our books so that we can let them know and they'll buy them.
Oh, see, and I'm just a little bit farther down the nihilism road than you are, which is where I'm seeing the mailing list get like even less effective over time. Pretty soon we're just going to have nothing left. But the one good thing that has come out this year so far, Trish and I talked about this before the show, is pre-orders. I think that newsletter lists have been like extremely, extremely important for indie authors up until now, and they'll continue to be important, but the best technology is to let your customer buy your next book when they get to the end of your book and they're at their peak excitement level for your next in series.
That'll only work if you have your next book out in 3 months.
Yeah, that's a really difficult thing.
Yeah, so yeah.
But that's
So
not my
for
problem.
me.
Am I crazy, or are you're putting out books every 3 months, though, aren't you?
I am, but I have multiple series. So
okay.
So yeah. So
Yeah,
like
so
the Rose book comes out in November, but it's looking like the next one won't be out till April. So I can't put a pre-order link in there like I did back in January for the one in June.
Right. Well, see, if you, I don't know about you guys, I don't have any kind of rep at Amazon. because they know I'm weird and they stay away from me smartly. But if you have a rep, you could probably put up a pre-order for a lot longer period than 3 months. I've seen other, I'm not going to name names here, but I've seen other people do stuff. I've seen other people have pre-orders up, and then they just magically move their pre-order, and instead of canceling and losing their ability to do pre-order through their KDP accounts, they just magically get to move the date up because they're getting some love. Not everybody gets that love, but I think authors who've had the ability to do pre-order for the last couple of years before the rest of us, the unwashed masses, have gotten that ability, I think they had a huge advantage over us. And even though we're barely struggling through like zombies here through the K-apocalypse, which is the worst thing to happen to indie publishing since they let me publish books. Despite that, I think that pre-orders are the one shining little bright spot in 2014. And use those pre-orders, simplify your life. If you can get a book out in your series every 3 months, I would really, really recommend that. I've seen good results so far from pre-orders. I'm simplifying my life. I'm down to just 2 series. And that's it. 2 series, that's it. I promise, I swear.
All right, well, I think next roundtable is going to have to be on pre-orders, yay or nay, because I've heard horror stories from people on them too. But I guess that's it for me. I'm going to hand you back to Adam. He's got a couple of closing questions, if that's all right, and thanks for answering mine.
Thanks.
All right, and yeah, so we're past the hour a little bit. I just had one kind of closing question, and Denise, I'll start with you again here. So a lot of people listening either don't have anything out yet, or they may have just started, or they may not have a list at all. So if you were in that situation now, just starting out, or say you were starting a new pen name with no cross promotion or anything, just blank slate, what would you do to build a list now? Who would you go with? What would you do differently than when you started?
Well, I've heard great things about constant contact email lists, so I would probably check into them if I was starting over again for a newsletter subscriber. To build that list, I know an author, Inez Kelly, who really built her email list by offering a series of like it was a serial, but in short stories, and so she let them out for like every month, and so it was like a brand new book, and it was put in serial form, and she just put it out all over Facebook and Twitter and got people to sign up that way to her list. So that would be a good way to build one from scratch.
Okay, so kind of mirroring what you're doing now anyway, you would just start that earlier on?
Yeah.
And Mimi, same thing. I know you have some pen names, but like you said, you don't really keep them secret amongst them. But if you were starting a fresh pen name, no one knew, how would you start that list?
I would give myself permission to just get one book out before I start worrying about that. I would maybe do the technical side of things, get the mailing list set up, get the code ready, but just, get a book out. Get a book out and then get people on your mailing list. Don't hold yourself back. I know a lot of people feel like that they can get ready in some way, and they can get ready and they can ensure that they'll have success because they've prepared and they've done all these preparations. But what are you selling? What are you selling people if you don't even have a book out? Anyways, that's my advice. My advice is just like hit the button, hit the publish button, get your book out. Don't worry about your mailing list.
For sure. All right, so I think that's all we have for tonight. So for anyone out there, one thing that I think this all boils down to is regardless who you start it with, make sure you do start a list, but don't put the cart before the horse kind of thing. It doesn't good to really start a list and email them if you don't really have anything to say or don't have a book out yet to tell them about. But when you do have that following, also make sure that you stay engaged. It sounds like every successful author that I've talked to is emailing their list, usually at least once a month. So I've had a lot of people say that they haven't emailed for 6 months, and then when they do, even if someone was a fan before, they're like, who is this person emailing me all of a sudden? So, stay engaged with them, I think. And do you agree as well that, even if they don't have new books coming out, do you both agree that you should send something out at least every month or so, or let them remember who you are?
Well, I'm doing all these cross promo things, so I'm already committed to sending out minimum one email a month. to my big list. And if you're getting affiliate income off of your mailouts to offset the cost of your MailChimp, then you have to send the email if you want the affiliate income. But if you literally have nothing to send to people, don't sweat it. Like you don't have to. You don't have to email them. You know, keep it in the back of your head. You might just come up with something spontaneously to send. Make it fun. You know, you could if you have nothing, you could. I got great responses once. I sent a little. People love to know the inspiration for your stories, or if a character is based on a real person. They love that information. So that's a great one. If you have nothing else to send and you feel like you should send something, just pick one little element from your book and give them a little personal anecdote. I think if you send these things from the heart, I think people can feel that when they open the email. They can feel that it's personal and that you care. And I think that's important because we're not selling $280 informational products. We're selling these products of our heart, right? Aw, let's all hug. Okay? I'm like part motivational speaker today. It's the Dayquil.
I know, right? So, all right, awesome. So I think there's a lot of good information on the show, both for people just starting out, like I was just mentioning, or even people that are pretty well experienced with it. So, anyway, to wrap things up, I just wanted to let everyone know that on next week's show, which will be an interview show, I actually won't be here for that one. I'm going to be in California. As far as I know, the other two hosts will be here, though. And it'll be, like I said, an author interview. The author will be announced this Sunday or Monday, so keep an eye on the site to see who we've got in store for next week. And remember, if you like the show, help support it by just liking us on Facebook, Self-Pub Roundtable on Facebook, following us on Twitter at SP Roundtable. And as authors, you know how important it is for reviews, so make sure you're reviewing us on iTunes. Speaking of, I know a lot of people have said that iTunes isn't up to date yet. We're working on that. We'll have them all out here fairly soon. If not this week, then as soon as I get back from California, we should have all that worked out. So that's all I had, though, and thanks again for Mimi and Denise for showing up, and for everyone for watching.
Thank you,
everybody. Hug an indie author today. We're very huggable.